This is the JWN podcast. Happy New Year! Oh my goodness. Is it a Happy New Year? I mean, I guess so, right? It's not this past year. Man, I was running a little before I'm recording this. I went out for a run on the trail behind my studio. And I've been on an LCD sound system kick lately. And the song Home came on. And then the verse, this is the trick. Forget a terrible year. Oh man, I'm not singing well. Anyway. Yeah, this is the trick. Forget a terrible year. That's it, man. How are we going to get through this next year? Are we going to get upset when things are more of the same? Or are we accepting the fact that maybe we need to look forward a little bit and see the bright side, see the light at the end of the tunnel? Is that how we're going to handle it? Because that's how I'm choosing to handle it. I mean, time is just an arbitrary thing that we've constructed to figure out how long things are. We're putting these dates. We make these dates based on our planet revolving around this axis and then revolving around the sun. And at the end of the day, that motion doesn't care about how good a revolution was around the axis or around the sun. Like, it's not going to be good based on that revolution or those revolutions. So it's really just our perception that we have to worry about. And I'm choosing to perceive that this year will be awesome. I mean, I kind of thought that about 2020. Last year, on New Year's Eve, everyone in the know, all the Ramones fans, and even some non-Ramones fans, were posting I want to be sedated memes of 2020, 24 hours to go. And it was like, an excitement. It was like, all right, 24 hours, we're going to have a whole new year. It'll be 2020. This cool number, like nice round, even number, gets to bring back the stupid New Year's Eve glasses because you've got 2 O's now for eye holes, right? Oh, those were terrible. They were terrible when they started trying to like shoehorn them in after I guess 2010 was the last one that had 2 zeros in the date. I want to say those glasses started in the year 2000. Maybe they were there before, but I never noticed them till the year 2000. And then they carried on. And then 2011, it was just like, okay, what are we going to do now? Like the big New Year's glasses business had to figure it out. They had to pivot. How are we going to handle New Year's Eve glasses when there's only 1 zero? Or what are you going to do? So, yeah, big New Year's Eve glasses. Is that a whole genre? Maybe, I don't know. They're excited. They were excited for 2020 because guess what? 2 zeros. Anyway, yeah, it was exciting. New Year's going into 2020. It just felt like there was a lot of cool stuff going on. It was going to be Olympics this year. I felt like there was all this momentum. Like at the end of 2019, my photography business was the strongest it had ever been. Like things were picking up to a pace where I was just so like, I was running the numbers like, holy cow. The last 6 months of 2019, my business had picked up so much that I was just like, this is unbelievable. And 2020 started out that way as well. Then it came to a screeching halt. Yeah. For everybody, not just for me. But I've been fine. I have had no problems making it through this year as far as financially. Everything is okay for me personally. I wish I could say the same for everybody. I just had an amazing conversation. I recorded Monday's podcast earlier today, and I have this wonderful, wonderful human being in. She is an entrepreneur. She's like a serial entrepreneur. She's very inspiring, motivational. And if you are thinking of making some changes in your life for the coming year, it'll be a good podcast to listen to, give you some ideas of some positive changes to make in your life and the effects those changes have. That's where I'm fired up. It is really like how we kind of discussed how taking care of yourself has such a profound impact on the world. And I'm not saying that to sound like flaky or whatnot. I mean it. When you're taking care of yourself to the fullest in all the best ways, you're contributing to such a better society, and those ripples are felt. They're felt for a long time after you're gone. Same could be said for when you do bad things to yourself. Those ripples are felt long after you're gone as well. So be kind to yourself. Be good to yourself. And anyway, I'm fired up about that. I'm in a very good mood about that. It's kind of off-putting the nervousness that I'm feeling about everything else. Because guess what? I think last week on the solo show, I might have mentioned, or it was either last week or the week before, I mentioned that, here where I live in the Charleston area of South Carolina, our numbers haven't been too bad for new infections and deaths and things like that. They've been pretty far behind the rest of the country, which I guess is not saying much, but it was enough where you didn't feel like panicked or nervous, but you could see like there's a delay. You could see the train coming, and yeah, the train has come into the station. All aboard the COVID train here in Charleston. Starting to getting the phone calls that, you've been around somebody or, your friends or people, colleagues, they're coming down with it. And it's happening. It's happening. So far, I've been good. I'm starting to rethink how to even do this podcast in the new year. It's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. I need to figure out how to do it safely. I'm enjoying having people one-on-one in studio, but it's looking like I might have to curb that for a while and go back to the phones or virtual type sessions and not virtual recordings. They're actual recordings, but remote recordings. I don't know. I'm trying to weigh my options, and I'm going to do my best to not make the people in my life nervous. So there's that. But I think that's good. I think I've felt this momentum going on here, but I've been very local focused because that's who I could get to come in. And maybe I've been ignoring people outside of my area. So maybe I should start looking into that. If you have any suggestions of people you think would be a good match for this podcast, definitely send me a message. Go to jwnpod.com and fill out the little email form, or hit me up on Instagram at JoeLatex. That's JOEL, the number 8X. Send me a message. Although sending me a message on Instagram, because Instagram's so, I guess this is a good feature, but for my brain, when people send me a message and I'm not like following them, it goes into that weird other message box and I don't see it. Sometimes I see them so late and I'm just like, I wish people would just send me an email. I know it sounds archaic. I know it makes me sound like I'm an old man. Send me an email. None of this DM stuff. Only because I know I'll see that, I'll get notified and all that kind of stuff. I don't have my social media notifications turned on for good reason. My own sanity. I don't know how well people deal with getting notifications from everything wants to send you a notification to a point where if everything's notifying you, nothing's notifying you. So yeah, I'm very selective on what will be able to notify it. My email notifies me. So send me an email. show@jwnpod.com or just go to jwnpod.com. Anyway. Oh boy, what a crazy week. It's been a holiday week, and I had a kind of a heavy, my podcast got a little heavy last week talking about holiday depression. And there were a few moments on Christmas where I definitely got very emo. And I tried to hide it. You try to just excuse yourself, get up, go to the bathroom, whatever. And I don't know why. Maybe if I wasn't so embarrassed by it, it wouldn't affect me. I don't know. But maybe that's a problem with growing up with male stereotypes, like bursting out in tears over something silly. Not even. I shouldn't even see, like, I'm calling it silly. I'm my own worst enemy on this. I really am. But like bursting out into tears over seemingly nothing to the person that's witnessing it, it's uncomfortable for me to do that. Really, I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to handle it. Is that my right? I guess, yeah. Is it helping me not to deal with it? Probably not. But yeah, I did feel it. It wasn't overwhelming, but it happened a few times where it just kind of started to take over. You could feel it coming on. And out of left field too. Like just sitting there doing something, nothing. And all of a sudden you feel like this emotional wave crashing on you. It's not cool, not fun. But I did, I felt like after I recorded that podcast, I was like, man, that's a little confusing, that one. I started off playing Christmas music. And then I'm telling you about how I feel like I'm getting completely inundated with Christmas stuff on most years, and that I was happy that this year I didn't have to, and all that stuff. It's complicated. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely not like a black and white situation. It's no easy way to explain how complicated it can be, because there are times when I enjoy holidays. There are certain things I don't want to ruin it for my family. My wife loves Christmas, and I unfortunately have put it on her that I don't. And so it puts this asterisk on her own ways to enjoy it, and that's not fair to her. And I am fully aware of that. So I'm trying. I really am. Trying to make everybody happy. But what can you do? Did you watch any of the Christmas exclusive releases that were streaming? There were two of note, two big ones, which one was Wonder Woman 1984 and the other one was Soul. Wonder Woman 1984. Wow, how bad was that movie? And I felt bad because my wife's like, oh, I love it. And I was like, I get why you love it. I get it. It's fun to see a woman with the power and all that kind of stuff. Yes, the first movie was amazing because of that. But the writing on this was like the worst Doctor Who episode you've ever seen. I don't think Doctor Who would ever leave that many holes in a plot either. Like the whole wishing thing, where spoiler alert. Sorry, if you haven't seen it and you plan on seeing it, fast forward like a minute. But the whole wishing thing, and they just didn't think it through. Like, wait a second. Wonder Woman wishes she can have her old boyfriend, her dead boyfriend back. So instead of getting her dead boyfriend back, like his likeness just takes over another person's body who did not conform to this. They didn't say, hey, you can have my body. And, say what you will, but I think they might have had some, little action going on there between Wonder Woman and this guy. That's rape, sister. Like, that's really, like, who thought of this? Who didn't recognize, like, hey, you're taking somebody's body and using it in a way they are not okay with? I'm just saying, that's messed up stuff right there. And then like the way it all just kind of comes to an end, where you're telling me That everybody who heard the initial broadcast and got to make a wish through that dude also heard the broadcast when she took over, and every single person who made a wish just, gave the wish back. No. I mean, this is 2020. Look at the selfishness we're seeing in our own country. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you kidding me? We can't even, we've killed 320 something thousand people because people don't want to do the hard thing and sacrifice. I mean, people have done the hard thing and sacrifice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not belittling people. But as a whole, if we all equally sacrificed, we'd be over this thing by now. Kind of like New Zealand. But we didn't. So we're supposed to believe in this movie that everybody is just going to give up whatever. Also, how many people would have wished for some sort of power? Like, wouldn't they start canceling each other out? If somebody said, I want to be king of England, I would imagine there was probably 20,000 people who said, I want to be king of England. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many kings can you have and who wins? There's too many plot holes. The movie was dumb as hell. It was just stupid. Now, Soul, on the other hand, might have been the best movie of 2020. I think it might have been. That movie was simply wonderful. Just, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really pay attention to what it was. I knew it was about, a musician. So I was like, I'm in. You don't have to stop. I'm in. I'll watch it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to ruin it for myself. And then, oh my God, it is such a beautifully told story. It's funny. It's sad. It's inspiring. It's everything. It's so well executed. Jamie Foxx is just amazing in it. I mean, I can't say enough good things. I kind of feel like I want to watch it again tonight just because it made me feel so good, Like, I definitely had tracks on my face at the end of that movie, but not in a sad, depressing way. And I just oh my gosh, that's so beautifully done. All right. I sound like a broken record. But honestly, if you haven't seen Soul yet, please just watch it. I know it's Disney. I get it. But I'm pretty sure you have a way of watching it since everybody has seen The Mandalorian and it's on the same service. So go ahead and watch that if you have not seen it yet. Let me know what you think too, because am I crazy? I think that might have been the best movie of the year. Again, by the way, goes what I said a couple of weeks ago about all these lists that come out in the beginning of December saying this is the best song, best movie, best TV show of the year. Well, how do you know? And then a movie like Soul comes out and it's unbelievably amazing. Like, if I were to put that up against Tenet, I would much rather watch Soul. And I loved Tenet. But no, I would much rather watch Soul again. And I will watch them both again, because I can. But I'm saying that movie, so good. And it came out on Christmas Day. So all those lists are wrong. They're all null and void. Especially because, didn't Taylor Swift release another kind of surprise album in December? I think that was in December. But I know Guided by Voices released their third record of the year this year in December, and it's amazing. It's unbelievable. The fact that they could continue to put out such high quality albums, it's mind-blowing to me how relevant and good they still are. I don't know. But again, it's not on anyone's top 10 list because they made their top 10 list way too early. was thinking about making my lists of stuff this year, and I realized, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I know what my favorite stuff is. I do. I can tell you right now, Run the Jewels 4 is one of the best albums ever, let alone 2020. But it's so ridiculously good in 2020. It's so of the time. Like it will. I kind of wonder what it would be like 100 years from now. And somebody's like learning the history of the United States, and they're looking. I imagine 2020 will be in the history books. I would imagine. There's so much craziness that happened this year, not both, on every front. There's so much craziness. I would imagine it'll be a historic year. And if people start listening to the pop culture and look at what was going on, if somebody were to listen to Run the Jewels 4, would they be like, man, this slams? But when they listen to the lyrics, would they be like, holy cow, this is very much like historical, like what they're talking about? And would somebody put the note like, hey, these lyrics were written before the events of 2020 even took place? Like, craziness. Yeah, I do. Let's see. What else happened? Oh, one of my favorite albums that came out this year, the Beths, Jump Rope Gazers. They're a New Zealand band. They're having a spectacular year. They get to tour in their home country. But during the release of this record, they were still kind of locked down, and they were doing online videos. They were doing online shows that were so well produced that I was like, whoa, like what's capable here? They were playing these live sets that sounded like produced recordings. And then, as time went on, they were one of the first bands that kind of really, I noticed early on in the year, after the lockdowns started happening, that decided to step the game up on the audio quality. And because they were trying to promote this new album, they had to do something. They can't go on a world tour. They can't go on all the shows to promote it. So they did their thing. Speaking of, I'm going to say it. Sorry, folks. Get your shot glasses out. Your JWN podcast shot glasses. Phoebe Bridgers is like for me, the darling of 2020. I just love, I've said this a million times. I'm probably not going to need to repeat myself. I just love how she took what she had and turned it to 11 as far as content creation, servicing her audience. And she had this amazing product. When I say product, I mean her record, Punisher, is so good that, all of that creativity that she used to get the word out is backed by this wonderful record. So yeah, those would be, and then locally, and I wouldn't even say locally, like the Baby Yaga album. It's not even an album; it's just an EP. But that recording, I believe, is amazing. It's so good. It's so refreshing, and it's weird because I know I've been talking a lot about that Charleston sound here with other musicians and people in the music industry down here, and I don't think Baby Yaga really fits into the Charleston sound as far as sonically at this moment, but they are very much a Charleston band. But regardless, it's so good. I love it. I'd put that up there. They just got on another top 10 list of best South Carolina recordings from Extra Chill, which is like a blog that has been covering the Charleston music scene, the Charleston indie rock music scene for, I think, 10 years now. I think they just celebrated their 10-year anniversary. And they have Baby Yaga on their list of top records. And I 100% agree. I agree. Babe Club, another local artist here who was on the podcast as well. What a wonderful EP that is. I mean, it's unbelievably good. You should go check it out. Maybe I'll play some on here. I think maybe I should play some music on this podcast podcast, because I'm recording this on New Year's Eve. It will come out on New Year's Day. Maybe I'll play little snippets here. Maybe underneath while I'm talking, you'll hear some Baby Yaga, or some Babe Club, and just to kind of spice it up a little bit, because it's good stuff, and I think you should hear it. And any chance I get to promote it, I will. It's because I can do that, and I will. All right. It's funny. I last week I was going to do the news, but by the time I got to the end where I went with the podcast, I didn't know where I was going to go with that podcast when I hit record. I just started kind of riffing. And I think when I do that, sometimes when I'm gonna break down the fourth wall here for you. Most of the time on these solo shows, I'll have kind of bullet points of things I want to talk about, right? And I'll do some research throughout the week of kind of news in the creative industry that sticks out to me that I want to talk about. So I'll put all that together in a document so that I'm prepared. Every once in a while, like last week, I was just not. It was hectic. I was kind of I was winging it. I just hit record and started talking. But I did have some news stories, and I did record some news stories, and then I listened to them, and I was like, this doesn't flow. It doesn't make any sense from where I ended up going. So I trashed it. And one of the news stories I was going to talk about was how the Save Our Stages movement got funded through this bill. But while I recorded it, the bill had passed through Congress. I didn't know that that Donald Trump wasn't going to sign it. I'm just like, what the heck is going on here? So I'm glad I didn't share that story, because it wasn't going to happen. Like, eventually he did sign it. So yes, they Save Our Stages got funded. And that, if you don't know anything about that, it's basically providing some emergency money to venues and to keep their doors open, because they truly can't exist right now. Theaters and music venues and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a fantastic news story, but I'm kind of glad I made the decision not to even have that news story last week, because it would have felt really weird to find out the next morning that, oh no, Donald Trump didn't sign that. It's just, what? By the way, I'm not going to try and go get political on you. It's a new year, but the image of Bernie Sanders standing on the Senate floor with this giant blown up, printed out Trump tweet demanding $2,000 instead of $600 for every American. Just that the image of him standing in front of that blown up tweet on an easel is the most 2020 way to end the year, because you have Bernie Sanders demanding that the Senate votes on something proposed by Donald Trump. I mean, is that not a drop the mic on the friggin' year as far as the political sphere? The political year of 2020? That's a drop the mic moment, if you ask me. Who would have thought, if you had Bernie Sanders teaming up with other Republicans to put forth the Trump agenda on your 2020 bingo card, I think you should win the jackpot. At that point, if you get to mark that, because that is the craziest. That's up there with the alien news. Which, by the way, I believe in that thing that Trump signed in this the coronavirus relief bill that just passed. There was something about the Pentagon has a certain amount of days or months to reveal everything they know about aliens. Somebody shoehorned that into a coronavirus relief bill. Wait, what? I feel like there's going to be a lot of weirdness carried over into 2021. I feel like we're kind of so battered and beaten down at this point that we're just going to accept it. We're just going to go all right, this is normal now. And yeah, we've got this to look forward to. We've got this this election in Georgia, which really will determine the fate of how the rest of the next at least 2 years goes in this country, right? I mean, if you're not a political person, if the election goes entirely for the Democrats, for these 2 senators, then yeah, the Joe Biden will be a very effective president as far as being able to get things done. If either one of those elections goes for one of the Republicans, yeah, Joe Biden's going to have a tough time. It's going to be a real tough next 2 years for Joe Biden, and it'll be tough. It'll be tough for him to get things done. Lots of it's a weird way to start the year with all of these eyes on the wonderful state of Georgia. Like, hey, you've got the ball in your hands. Like, what are you going to do with this? Do you drop the ball? Do you take it for a nice, long drive into the end zone and bring us to victory? And when I say us, I really am including everybody in this country, because I think we need to take some decisive action one way or the other. But being locked in a stalemate during this time has proven to be nothing but more dead bodies. So yeah, there's that. But then there's also the I've gotten all political on this. What's going on here? I'll wrap it up with this. But it looks like the president is trying to incite a riot when Congress certifies the Electoral College count. He's literally calling. Remember when he said during that first debate to stand back and stand by to the Proud Boys? Well, now he's basically said to them, now's the time to come forward. And if you're not scared, you should be. My hope is that the wonderful people living in Washington, D.C., stay home that day. Like, just kind of go somewhere safe and don't engage these idiots. Just let them parade in the streets, like desecrating the flag that they think they're worshiping by wearing it as a hat and as a sleeveless tank top or whatever they're going to do with it. Let them do weird stuff. Let them hang out. Let them be what they are. But don't engage them. Don't fight them. Just let them be. If you ignore them, the outcome's going to be the same. Joe Biden's going to be your president. But let's try to do it without, like, maybe murdering each other. Like, can we get through that? Yeah. Because those things going on, those 2 political events really will start this year off either in a good way or a bad way. Maybe the best we can hope for is in a neutral way. But yeah, 2021 could be a banner year, or we could stumble out of the gate. What are you choosing to do? And that is the theme of Monday's podcast. Really is. What are you choosing to do for yourself? And how are you going to make your life better? Honestly, think about it. What can you do to make your life better? And if you do improve your life in a healthy way, I do believe you'll improve the lives of everyone around you. You'll improve your community. You'll improve the world. So, as you go on about your day today, maybe you're a little hungover. Maybe you stayed in, just took it easy. Maybe you watched. I don't even know. Are they doing a ball drop? I guess you'll know when you're listening to this, but I don't know. I haven't looked into what the actual celebrations are. When you're listening to this and you're deciding to get started on your new year, and if you have a resolution, which if you don't, that's okay. But if your mind is open to maybe doing some things to improve your life, if everybody were to do that, the world would be a better place for it. And you'll be happier. I'll be happier. We'll all be happier. I am going to wish you a very happy new year. And no news today. Again, sorry, just not feeling newsy. I think coming into the new year, I'll get back on track with all that stuff. But for now, I just kind of wanted to shoot from the hip and talk from the heart. And yeah, love you people.